How many of the Mubashirin al-Jannah, the people that were destined for Jannah, came through at the hands of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq? How much did he serve the Prophet? And here's the thing, with Abu Bakr, it was just all about the Prophet. You know, when they fled to Medina, he was just awake all night. You know, As-Subh ya Rasulullah, I'm going to be with you. When the Prophet ﷺ returned to the greatest, the highest company, Rafiq al-A'la, Jalla Jalal, returned back to Allah. Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, all night, he would just be crying. He'd be crying. Why would he be crying? Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, all night, his daughter Aisha, she'd come up to him and find him. And he'd just be in the darkness, sat cross-legged with his head lowered, and tears streaming down his face. And like, what was his dhikr? Wa shawqa ila Rasulillah. Wa shawqa ila Rasulillah. It's like a lament. I don't know how to translate it in English. It's like somebody just calling out, like, how I miss you so much. I miss you. You know. And that's why, subhanAllah, 2.5 years after the Prophet ﷺ returned back, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq died of a broken heart, died of longing, died of yearning. That's what Iman does. That's what you become. You know, if you turn away from all this meaninglessness, all this fakeness, all this unreality, and you keep it real with Rabbil Alameen, that's what that does to that kind of heart. Radiallahu anhu. May Allah allow us to see them on Yawm al-Qiyamah, be raised with them. And he was there. He was there at Badr. And the Prophet ﷺ is calling upon Allah, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, Ya Hayyu, calling, Ya Allah, Ya, calling for victory. You know. And so much so that his blessed shawl, ﷺ, it fell off. And Abu Bakr Siddiq, out of care, he picked up the shawl of the Prophet and he placed it on him. And he said, it's enough, Ya Rasulullah. Like, you can't do anymore. Like, you've done so much. You've called upon Allah. You've done above and beyond. You've done more than you could, you know, in your communion with Allah. You know, Allah will give you that which you promised. So there are so many times of challenge and difficulty and anxiety and worry and hysteria, you know, especially in those early days. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a plan. He always did. And He designed it. Because Allah does things always in the most beautiful of ways. You know, sometimes when a person feels really down and things are really dark, you know, just hold on. Because that's normally the time when Allah shows who He is. You think I'd lost you? You think I'd forgotten all about you? You think I was going to leave you in the dark? Alam yajidaka yatiman fa'awa. Did He not find you an orphan and He brought you in? Did He not take care of you? وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًا فَهَدَى. And He found you wandering, you know, فَهَدَى. And He guided you close. Yeah. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You got to fall in love with Allah. We need to be lovers. There's no time just to be kind of a half-baked Muslim anymore. You got to give it your all. because anything else is just a waste of time, you know. So just at that moment, and there was a prelude to it, because on the way back we understand Ta'if, it wasn't just like a 10-minute stroll from Mecca, it was a journey. And on the way back, the Prophet ﷺ rested under a tree. And that's when the jinn came up to the Prophet ﷺ. You know, Inna sami'na Qur'anan ajaba. We've heard this amazing Qur'an. And they all start to gather around the Prophet ﷺ. He's reciting the Qur'an. You know. And a group of the jinn started to believe. And that was a prelude. It was a subtle inference of it's not going to remain dark forever. You know. And it's Allah saying if the ins, if the humankind is not going to believe in you, then we'll bring you people from the jinn. You know. And we know the Prophet ﷺ in his majalis was acutely aware of the unseen. But we know from his shama'il that he would look sometimes at people, and sometimes his vision would wave upwards. He would look down. And they say he was addressing the malaika. There was sometimes he'd be addressing unseen beings within his majalis. And there are believing jinn and there are malaika which frequent the gatherings of the believers, no doubt. No doubt.